It's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast, and we're going to revisit the Canon Zoom Lens FD 28 to 50 millimeter f3.5 constant aperture SSC. That's just their special scam for multi-coating. This is a really fine lens. I really like it. And I liked it so much that today, Sunday, the 23rd of April, I went to BOOMTOwn, and I wanted to see the Rockaway River because there's heavy thunderstorms last night, and of course it'd be a raging torrent, and that's why I went. And I took this lens. In fact, it was drizzling. Of course, I had to bring an umbrella with me, and I had to keep this under my coat. The camera's supposed to be water resistant, but the lens isn't. So that means it was heavy overcast. So I shot at ISO 800, and when I got there just before 7 a.m., I was shooting wide open at f3.5, and I shot a couple of pictures at 3.5, and then I went down to 5.6 and shot a lot of pictures at 5.6, and then I did stop down to 11, 16, and 22 for some longer exposures because I want to get some blurry motion of the water and the rapids. But mostly I shot at 5.6 because I wanted to see what it was like. And I went through the whole zoom range from 50 millimeters to 28 and 35 and everything in between. One of the things that's a negative about this lens is it only focuses down to 3.5 feet or maybe 3 feet, 1 meter. And that's, for a zoom lens, that's not too close. I mean, both the Nikkor Zoom and the SMC Pentax A, they focus down to like, 1.5 feet. And then the Nikon had a special macro mode that get you less than a foot. This thing does have a macro mode. I pointed this out before. You have to go to 28, and then you can like focus through the range by going like this. And you get about 6 inches away from the front of the lens, like that. And at least I have that, and it works really good. And the lens is really sharp. So aside from that, it's a really sharp lens, and I got some outstanding results, and you're going to see them following. Plus, I took 2 videos of the whitewater rapids and the falls. And I have turned on the electronic vibration reduction. It works only in video mode, and it doesn't give you any parameters to put in. Of course, they expect you to use like a Z lens or the FTZ adapter, and then you have to use some sort of, the D series of AIS, or a newer lens. And then maybe the lens communicates with the camera and it tells it what focal length it is, which it does because it puts it in an XS file. And then maybe the vibration reduction is more custom set to whatever Nikon brand lens you put on it. But I was using these non-Nikon lenses like the Pentax and this Canon, and it seems to work really well. It worked really, really well. It got rid of the boomer jitters that I have, and I'm really pleased with that. So at least when you're taking a movie, you don't see that old man jitters in your videos. Now, I only want to point out quickly, and then we're going to go to the samples and the video samples too, is they have this weird cutout thing. And you would think these pedals are for like some sort of optimized, shading for the optics. But no, it's not, because when you focus and you turn it, it goes sort of like that. So it sort of like defeats the purpose. It's just some sort of, they did this thing, all right, maybe it works at infinity, you get to, but, I don't know what to think about that. Because here it's at 50 millimeter and the lens is all the way contracted. So maybe it's definitely a sunshade there, but when you go to 28 millimeters and the lens gets, at its maximum extension, then these pedals really don't do anything at any position. And you can see the lens moves a little bit when you turn the focusing ring. So aside from those 2 negatives, and I think the pedal thing is a minor annoyance at most, but this is really bizarre that it only focuses down to a little around 3 feet, when even most 50 millimeters are focused at 2 feet. And in some 50 millimeters look at just 1.5 feet. But that's Canon, that's what they do. But aside from that, it's an excellent lens, excellent build quality. You're going to see how sharp it is wide open. And that's a test of a lens, is how sharp is it wide open. This thing is fantastic. I think it's better than the 28 to 50 Nikkor zoom, and it's better than the SMC Pentax A 24 to 50 millimeter. So without further dog ado, let's jump right into the this most recent samples. This is wide open f3.5. It's the end of April, slightly before 7 o'clock in the morning. Here's another f3.5. Now notice I was parallel and perpendicular to this wall, so there's no perspective distortion. And this is wonderful. Look, this is outstanding. Clear, sharp. Well, it was low contrast day anyway. Here's the more three-dimensional landscape. I focus on the globe, and 50 millimeters at 3.5 still has sort of shallow depth of field. But look how sharp the globe is. That's cool. You know, it's like and it was foggy. You know, a low contrast day. Here's a street view, and I focused on the gas sign so I could document what the price of gas is in 2023, the first quarter of 2023. This is excellent, an excellent lens. I'm very pleased with this lens. You may say, oh, Boomer, you always said you're a Canon guy. Well, you know, okay, I'm a Canon guy, but this is a good lens. Look at this. This is you know, it's a wonderful lens. I really like it. In fact, I may get rid of the Nikkor zoom and the Pentax zoom. Now that was it. That was my 3.5s. I stopped down at 5.6. I kept it at ISO 800 so I could use a fast shutter speed and eliminate unintentional camera motion blur. And you know, this is 5.6. Check this out. Check this out. You could sort of see the water droplets on the leaves. You know, it's amazing. I mean, maybe I could have adjusted the tonal range a little bit, but I didn't want to like you know, get too deep into that. This is how it came out of the camera for the most part, except for my cropping and resizing. Water droplets are always tight, so hard to do. This is the spillway on the Rockaway River. I focus right where the A is. And so this next one is this full frame center crop. And yeah, that's pretty decent. You know, I was satisfied with this. Absolutely. And then I took another picture. The previous picture was at 28 millimeters. This is at 50 millimeters. 5.6 to both of them. I don't think it's ever going to get better than this. Oh, this is with the Nikon Z50, my favorite go-to mirrorless camera. This is 28 millimeter shot looking downstream. The falls is right in the middle, upper center. And if you walk further down and look back, this is what you see, the falls. I like the braiding there, the way it is braided over that rock. You know, it's like this weird braiding. And, you know, it wasn't a lot of rain. We got some heavy rain, and the river had a lot of, you know, turbulence and chicanery to it, but it wasn't overflowing. It smelled slightly of sewer. I mean, all the rivers in New Jersey, they're sewers. So they got this big giant rock there, and the kids in town, they go there and they spray pornographic graffiti on it. Here's an old stone bridge, archway. I think this is F16 or something. This is the Karak that the kids wrote their graffiti on. A Karak, what's that? Well, that's a Bjorn calls things like this a Karak. And these are all at 5.6. That's pretty good. It's amazing. I think all these cameras, they do better with sharper edges than with leaves and stuff like that, because the leaves always look a little fuzzy to me. So I think that's the JPEG algorithm. Now you cross over Stone Bridge, walk up the other side of the river, and you can look upstream and you can see the raceway up there. Here's a close-up of the raceway. This is a full-frame crop to fit this movie format. It was misty, so it looks low contrast. Now notice how sharp the rocks look and everything. And then the leaves always look a slightly bit blurry. Of course, maybe the leaves are low contrast, and I think I could have boosted the contrast a little bit. Now this is at f16 definitely, and I was using like 1/8 of a second so I could get the motion blur of the rapids. There's a big giant pothole right there. I don't know if that's from blasting or just the natural waterworks did that. This is a little better view of it. This is another view of the Karak. This graffiti has only appeared in the last year or so. And what's happening is the river is in back of Main Street. So anyone who lives on Main Street or close to Main Street, they have like a 5 or 10 minute walk, and there's stores where you could buy spray paint and you could do all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's they got all these antique shops and consignment shops, and the windows change and the stores change. Like a store will be there and say I don't get back for 2 or 3 months and the store's gone. Like this store has been there forever, for as long as I can remember. It's been in this location since the 90s. But a lot of the other stores, they come and go. I mean, how many barber shops do you need? How many coffee shops do you need? How many pizza joints do you need? I mean, there seem to be a lot of them, but people want to follow their bliss or take a shot at it. There's a lot of barber shops on Main Street. There's a lot of home brewing places now. You brew your own alcohol. Look at this corner detail, fantastic. This is the Boot National Bank. Check this out. This is from across the street, diagonally across the street at 5.6. Wow, that's nice. This is a nice lens. I like it. I forget when this the Cornerstone said that bank was made. This is in the post office parking lot. This used to be just a blank concrete abutment, and then one day they painted this there. And there's all these quaint shops all over. This is a little blurry, and I noticed that if you don't nail the focus exact, it looks a little blurry. Because I was using 5.6, I could have stepped down to f8. Now here, the center of the camera is parallel to this storefront, and the lens is perpendicular to the storefront. So here's a corner, and you can see it's much sharper than the other one was, because maybe your depth of field was shallow at 50 millimeters, and it looked a little blurry. Now here is in the 28 millimeter end, and if you look at the street end on the right side of the screen, it's a little blurry, but if I did it to the left-hand lower corner, and it's much more sharper from the depth of field. The Tattoo Guild. Hey, how many tattoo parlors does a town need? More than one on the same street? I don't know. I don't know anything about America. Following is some video samples.